Great. All right, perfect. So as I mentioned, my name is Nicholas Kaczynski, and I'm a business advisor / solution consultant here at Odoo. And the purpose of our webinar today is to review with you Odoo Studio. Odoo Studio is a tool that was released with the onset of version 10 of our platform, and it has since then evolved. And what we're going to review today is the second version of Odoo Studio. So really, from the beginning of time, Odoo was able to accommodate a lot of the features and functions and customizations that you're going to see today. It's just that Odoo Studio, the purpose of this was to give the end user an interface which they feel comfortable with in order to be more autonomous in terms of, coordinating these customizations and modifications on their own. So what we're going to go over today is that studio, all the different tips and tricks and features with that studio, and more. And again, for those of you who joined the call at the last minute, below is my email address. Please take down that email address, nko@odoo.com, and feel free to reach out to me after with any questions or concerns you might have. Again, I'm not going to be able to necessarily delve into any of your particular workflows, ideas, or questions too deeply today on the webinar, but I'm more than happy to do so on a one-on-one type of basis and really help you figure out the solution that way. All right, so just the agenda for today. First thing we're going to look at is the introduction to Odoo Studio. We're going to look at just the interface, some of the different tools, buttons, what they do, etc. Then we're going to actually go in and we're going to customize an existing application. We can look at customizing fields, reports. We're going to be able to make connections from one model to another, things like that. And I'll explain all of this as we go along. As far as creating a new app from scratch goes, we're going to do that as well. We'll be able to, I'll show you how to create a new application. We'll be able to create a new model. We'll be able to really tie everything together and track any information that we want to track, and then furthermore relate that information to other parts of the system. So that'll be interesting. And the last case was that we'll actually look at a business case breakdown where this is a scenario that I was recently presented with, and I'll walk you through, some of the different criteria that this prospective customer had and how I went about leveraging Odoo Studio to provide them with the solution. And then at the end, we'll wrap things up with the Q&A. Does this align with what everyone had anticipated seeing on our call today? Just bear with me. Thanks, Jay. So for some reason, my computers. There we go. Sorry about that. All right. Let's jump in here then. So I'm going to remove this. All right. So I'm sure most of you are familiar with Odoo up until this point, or you've seen the product before, but I'll keep it light in terms of just giving you a general overview of the breakdown. What you're looking at here is the Odoo launch screen. This is where all of the applications which you want to leverage are going to be housed. You're able to access them by just clicking on them. You're able to type in here and make use of the global search bar in order to access any particular objects within a model, etc. Up here, we have some different tools for more communication purposes. And then lastly, we have here the developer tools, which allow us to JS test, OpenView, tour. You can disable the tours, these buttons, for instance, which I just did. More just from able to have more of a development standpoint. And the way that you're able to do that is you can either go into settings and activate developer mode here, or you can deactivate it, or you can just type in !debug right here after the web, which this is the preferred method of doing it. Okay, and then after that comes Odoo Studio. Now this is, if we click it right now, you just toggle it, and you'll see it quickly changes the interface. This is because we're on the main frame. We're on the home screen, and it'll ask us and prompt us to create a new app, which we'll get into a little bit later. In addition to that, we're going to be able to go to customizations up here. We can change the background if we want. We can import or export any additional customizations we've made to modules right through here, and we can also share them. There's also a notes section as well, which will open up an Etherpad, which will allow for you to take notes on any particular page or model that you're on as to track changes made, leave documentation, and really just help bring all these modifications together, and as well as the reasoning behind them. So in addition to that, we'll go ahead here and we'll click close, and we'll actually take a closer look at what Odoo Studio looks like through the lens of an existing application. Let's take a look here on the contact record, for instance. Here you have a list of all of your contacts. You may want to jump into, we want to jump into an existing contact record, and you're going to see you have all of the predefined fields as they are today. And when we open up Odoo Studio, what's going to happen is it's going to give us an interface. Now, this interface is going to, first and foremost, allow us to edit the menu. So that menu, if we go back to, there isn't for contacts at the moment, but if you're in like a sales application, the menu will be sales, it will be dashboard, it will be invoices, reports. You can actually edit and create a new menu. And if I click on that, we'll see it will allow me, there is just one menu here, and these of course are movable. And we'll get more, I can show you that a little bit later. In addition to that, down here, you're going to have the ability to add, view existing fields as well as properties. Up here, you can see different views for this contact record, which if we open it up, you'll see you can look at it in a form view, you can look at it in a search view, Kanban view, list view, grid view, pivot tables, and graphs. And we'll get more, we'll get into that a little bit more as we jump around and actually put things to use. In addition to that, we have automations. Well, this is a little bit more, getting a little bit more complex, and we won't jump too much into detail today into this. But what automations are going to let you do is you can create and schedule automated actions. So, for instance, if you want to, you have a opportunity that comes in to your pipeline, and let's just say you're a software company, and the number of users associated with this prospective client exceeds 50, then you're going to be able to tell Odoo to assign this opportunity to a specific sales team or a sales rep, maybe enterprise versus just small mid-market businesses. So little things like that, you're going to be able to control that in here. Then there's something called reports. Reports are going to allow you to see all PDF reports associated with a particular record, with a particular model. And that will, we'll get a little bit into that as we go on. Access controls, pretty self-explanatory. Here you have all of the different, these are all of the different actual fields or models. These are the actual, this is the object which it's on. This is the groups of employees that come pre-configured. And then here are the particular levels of access that come out of the box. And again, these are generic. This is more of a generic way to control access rights for individual users. Depending on, it's pretty straightforward. Which group is that user assigned to? And define here, do we want to give them read-only access to this particular field? Or do we want to give them write access, create access, or delete access? And that's how you control that. That's from a high level though. I'll show you some other ways to do that as well. And filter rules. Filter rules allow you to just predefine filter rules or filter values or fields that we're gonna go over shortly in the search menu. So before I start over, before I really also push forward, I want to stop for a second and go over sort of the way that Odoo has been architected from like a higher level. So what you're looking at here is called a form view of a particular model. And you're always going to see the model name up here. It's called, this is the res.partner model. If we go into a sale, if we go into sales in general, you'll see this is the CRM.team model. If we go into a sale order, you're going to see this is the sale order model. So every model has a list of fields associated to it. If I open up this model, you're going to see customer, quotation template, confirmation date, price list. Those are all fields associated with this model. And that's very straightforward way of thinking about it. This is actually a different model, and you'll see if I toggle over this model is actually the sell.order.line. And it's part of the cell.order model, but it's actually a different model. Now, if I go here into models, you'll see database structure models. Now, this will give me a list of all the different models that exist in my system. And I can quickly, for instance, pull up the res.partner model, and you'll see there's here it is, the res.partner, the model description is partner. I can open it up, and it's actually going to show me a list of all the fields associated with that model. There's an easier way to look at this, and this is how it used to be. And I'm going to show you what Odoo Studio now allows you to do very easily. We're actually able to go into that res.partner model, such as customers. Customers, we can open up this, and we can actually go into Studio, and we can see all the existing fields right here on the model. Again, these are a space for new fields as well, which we can add, which I'll get into shortly. But here are all existing fields on the model, and it's as simple as dragging and dropping a field to place it. We can start by doing something like here. Let's say we want to just have a basic generic text field, and we want to drag and drop it under tags, and it'll drag and drop that field. And you can see there's little icons next to these fields also, which help give you a picture or an idea or a visual of what the nature of this field is and how it will function. Text is just some basic text values. Multi-text gives you some lines. Lets you say, hey, this is a field you're going to want to put if, for instance, you want to have a little notes section on a model, on a record. Integer number, decimal number gives you the ability to just be more definitive. Issues and dependencies documented someplace easy to find. We can get into that. There are different, there's documentation that we have that'll go deeper into the dependencies, and I'll get into that shortly in some different tips, ways that you can quickly identify different dependencies. HTML, monetary fields, date, time, just date, checkbox, select fields, etc. But we can take here this new text field, and let's say actually we don't want to use it. We can quickly remove it from view by clicking on it and selecting remove from view. And I can go back to add up here. And let's say I actually want to look at a select field, and I want to give this, I want to associate this partner or this customer with a particular level of importance. So maybe I want to say level 1, level 2, or level 3. And I can click on confirm, and it will create those exact, it will create the new field for me. And then what I'm able to do is type on customer level, if you want. Not really a cool name, but it'll change the name of the field down here as well. So you're able to see the label is how it displays on the interface. The help tooltip actually allows me to say, to define a little tooltip, which if I hover over, it'll see there's no tooltip now, but if I put something, how important is this customer? And widget allows you to define how that value in that field will function, whether it is it a regular priority or a starbuster, so you can have different ideas. It's selection now. Default value is, yep, here they are, is do we want it to start on just empty, or do we want to have it every time a new customer record's created to start at a particular default? And then here we can limit the visibility to the groups. Okay, so with that, once you're done making that modification, you'll be able to click close. But before I do that, up here you can also define the nature of the field to the general user population. Is this invisible? Is it a required field? Is it a read-only field? So let's say it's a required field, and I save it. Now, as I'm on this customer record, I can edit it. See here I have my values. I leave it blank. I try to save it. Won't let me save it. Turns red. Following fields are invalid. Lets me know, hey, can't progress in the workflow here without saving this. So I can save it as a level 1. And I can save that record. Now, what's interesting about this is you're probably like, sure, this is great. Like, you can just track little bits of information, but that's really not, I'm looking to take it to the next step. And you're going to have the ability to do that by, let's say, going to see your generic overview. And Odoo is going to automatically feed that new field along with its values into the search and filter function up here. So we can, for instance, filter out or group by. You go to a custom, and we can see customer level is now a new searchable field for us to isolate and attribute a value to. And we can say, show us all customer records that have a customer level set to level 1. Apply it, and it'll show us. And you can uncheck it as well. Same with group by. Group by, customer level, select, apply, and it'll group by. Show you all undefined, all level 1, etc. And there's different views here as well. So we can see the list view, for instance, and you'll see all customers assigned to the level 1 record of value, and you'll see a dropdown which you can then access. You'll see it. Now, in addition to that, what I want to talk about quickly is using Studio to change the views. So let's say, we like this view on the customer of all customer cards, but I want to have something that's a little bit more quantitative. And you can select that, and that's where you actually leverage the Views tab up here. So you can click on Views, and you'd be able to select Pivot, for instance. And the pivot will drive that, and I can close it. And now you'll see Pivot as an option here. Pivot for customers, we may want to isolate customers based on display name. And then we can look at customer level. And we'll see level 1, and we'll see the value, and we can drill right into that and see Wegmans that way. And that's going to make more sense on a more advanced level. So that's just like the creation of a simple field. The next thing I want to talk about would be getting into more specifics when it comes to leveraging these fields in more creative ways, such as different types of dependencies and whatnot. Let us look at the project module for that. So if I open up the project module and I actually go into the list view, I look at the Wegmans project here, what we're going to see is some different fields. And I'll show you quickly how you can create dependencies. You can link up here as well. You'll see all the tasks that are related to this project. And someone asked earlier about dependencies, and dependencies is getting a little bit deep, but the way that they work is that, okay, this task is associated to a project. It's actually, this is a one project to many tasks and many tasks to one project. That's the way that the logic there actually works. So if you assign it to a different project, then it will fall within a different tool up here. And you can quickly add tools pretty easily by clicking on that and opening up a new box. For instance, let's say I want to track many help desk tickets to a single project. It's quite simple. You go to the help desk. You want to create a new ticket. Go to tickets. We can create a new ticket quickly. And make a test ticket. Now, in order for this project to know, hey, help desk ticket, you're associated to me. Come and be in my basket over here. We need to be able to define to which project this help desk ticket belongs right here on the helpdesk.ticket model. So Odoo Studio makes it easy where you can quickly select the many, because it's going to be many help desk tickets that we want to relate to one project. And I can select, drag, drop the many to one model here, the field. And when I pull down, it'll show me all the different models that I can relate this many to one to. So for instance, I want to relate it to a project dropdown. I quickly select it and I can confirm it, but I can also click here to see more detail. Now it shows me the model project at project, and I can see all the different fields associated with a project here. And you can see all the applications which this model is connected to. So if I save this, then I save it and instantly pops up project. And I can close this. And it's as simple as that. Now I go here, I can see a list of all my projects. I can even create and edit a project on the fly right from the help desk if I want to. But before I get into that, what I want to do now, the system is smart enough to know, hey, there are help desk tickets out there being assigned to projects. Mr. Project, do you want to capture this information and store it on the project internet? And you'll be able to do that by selecting Studio, going here to the buttons. This is a one-to-many now because there's one project to many help desk tickets. And the system will be smart enough to tell you that there is the help desk ticket out there. But label, we can name it tickets. We can select icons this way, or I'll show you another cool way to select icons. And you can select a related field. You want to go to search more, it'll show you it will show you all of the different models which have a project associated to them. And you'll see down here the ticket model, which the field name on the ticket is project, and you'll see X_studio field tells you that this was a field that you created via Studio or through customization, as in it's not out of the box. And all you want to do is just select that, and you can select the ticket. That might be nice, the ticket icon, and confirm it. And it will give us a new button for tickets up here. If you want to change that, you select that. You can change the FA. It's the FA icons. We can go here, and Odoo will work with any of these icons. So, I mean, it really depends on what you like, but there's a whole list that we can pull from here. We could take something like, just to give you an example quickly, we can take the folder. Or better yet, we'll take the frown.o. So that'll give you the value of what we need to put in there. And then when we go back here and I type in frown.o, it changes it. And that's how you can customize a button. Now, when I go back to a help, and even cooler is I can open this model up right from here. Now, see the model that I'm in is helpdesk.ticket, and I can create new records within that model right from project. And that starts to show you really the beauty of like a relational database, in the sense that you're able to wander around in it and create new connections among different parts of the system, sort of at free will. Think of yourself as like a spider, so to say, in that you can create a web of information and allow yourself to quickly access different parts of that web without having to write any code. And what's really cool about this, and why a lot of us here are so excited about this, is because for the first time in history, this is becoming really scaled out and really something that is accessible to anyone. And here we can quickly enter values of a ticket if we want, or we can go back to the actual ticket itself. We can look at the one on assigned ticket test, which we created, edit, select the project, save it, and you can access the project right from here if you want, and you'll even see your new one ticket up there. So there's that. That is one of many, the one relations that gives you just a little bit of insight there. There's a lot of different ways that you can do that. Really, you can take any record in the system, and if you want to relate many of those records to another record, then you would just drag and drop many to one on that record. And you can then go on the other one, and you can capture all those records on the other model and capture all those records that are coming in. So there's that. Another thing that is a little bit trickier, which I can show you today, would be how to automate this, how to automate values, and how to sort of when you create new records. But that'll actually be the tail end of my presentation today. The next thing I want to get into would be the review of. Let me actually just go back here to. So customize fields and report. So for reports, I'll show you that right now, and then we'll go in and we'll create a new app. So as far as customizing reports go, while I did show you at a very generic level how you can customize the report with the customer level 1 and whatnot, there's different ways to customize reports that more straightforward. So for instance, I don't have a ton of, let me just do this. Pets, line record 1. Let me pull this open. So for this here, I can go into the sales model. I can look at all sales orders, and you'll see we have some predefined fields that this view here presents us with. You can also go into Studio, and you can drag and drop a new field that you want to add to this view, or an existing field, such as, let's see here, we could add, I mean, there's a whole bunch of them. We could do created by, for instance. And you can drag and drop it and place it anywhere in the field. You see created by there. And you can create new fields as well here. If you want to have a many to one, we're able to do that. We're also, for instance, if I jump back into this old version, this old database I was working in, if I go to sales orders, is every studio user granted access to all data? So in Odoo, we actually don't define users in a way that necessarily links them to applications. All users have access to all applications. And the way that you isolate the groups of users who can only access certain applications versus others is by using Studio. Or you can do it you don't have to have Studio to define user access rights, but Studio certainly makes it much easier to do so. So all users, if you wanted them to, could access Studio, or just one user. So Studio is treated in Odoo just like a module is treated. So if we actually go to models, so you'll see Studio. So Odoo Studio is treated, let me pull it up here. Okay, yeah, so you would define the access that way. So with this, we can see we were just going to look here at like sales. If we go into the sales application, sales drop down into sale orders, we can drag and drop fields. For instance, we can go here and we can drag a many to one on this record, and we can create a new model if we want, or we can link it to an existing model, or we can search all models and we can see customer or level. Is that up? Because I didn't create it on this model yet, the customer level. But if you wanted to see customer level on the sale order, you would be able to do that. Let's see what else I can drag and drop here. We can see if there's an opportunity linked to it, the order date. We already have that on here. You can access these and remove them. If you want, you can add them. So we can do order date, for instance, that way. So really you can look at price lists as well if you want. Add it there. You can go into a sales order and you can create a new value here. For instance, let's say we want to create a new record and we want to link this to a project, for instance. If I didn't already do that. It already is linked to a project on here, but if we want to do it more formally. Or we can have tags here and we can say maybe we want to relate multiple different employees to this sales order. Maybe because there's sales assistants or SDRs or sales consultants that are assisting in the sale of this, and you'll be able to jump in and you can start to tag all the employees or create and edit a new employee here. So, and you can save that. And then of course you'll be able to filter out all sales orders. So you can filter out sales by employee, contains, NIC, and it'll show me the value that I have here. So just to give you a little idea there. As far as the Kanban view goes, you can also edit the values here. You can add a priority. You can drag and drop information on here, such as like something that would be nice on there might be to have a look at who the salesperson is. And you'll be able to drag and drop that on there. as well as price list. Oops, I don't want to mess anything up. But yes, you'll be able to edit that if you want to. I can show you what that looks like in a subsequent demo. But you'll be able to also filter out, again, by the information that you that any additional fields you would want to add there. So another thing I want to run by you guys really quick is also the creation of a new app. So all the creation of a new app really is just the creation of a new model. And as you know, one model, such as project.project here, can contain many other models in it, such as a project.task, which can also contain in it something like a analytic account.analytic.line, which is a timesheet entry. So you can, and of course, as we already know on this project, we created this together. We can also have the helpdesk.ticket model associated to the project.project model. So you can start to see how these can really layer up on top of themselves in really easy to build ways. And you can start to see how when they're shaped correctly and when they're designed correctly and intelligently, they can add tremendous value to an end user who spends most of his day in Odoo. Now, to start off with creating a new app here, let's start with something like, let's pretend, for instance, that, and this is something I dealt with recently, a construction company. They say to me, Nick, we want to have daily activity reports. We want our foreman on the ground to fill out a daily activity report. I say, sure, tell me more about these DARs. And they give me a bunch of information that they want to track. They want to know what project it's assigned to. They want to know who's the foreman. They want to know the date that it was created. They want to have a space for notes. They want to see a before and after picture of the work done that day. And they also want to see they want to know how many feet did they complete that day, or how much, how many square, it was a pipeline company, how many feet of pipe were laid that day. So what we can do is pretty straightforward. Go into developer, select a new app. Next, now we want to name our app, and we can say it daily report. Here we can define the color of our app. We can define the color of the interior logo, and we can also define the image here, which is just a 5-dot icon. So something like that, and now we can either specify a model or we can create your app. So app is now officially created, as simple as that. We can see all existing fields, which it gives us a baseline of fields that we can use. And it also gives us all the fundamental fields that we need to start to build and relate information around the system. First step, you can see you can quickly drop a column. And we can edit these columns and say maybe project information. And we can have daily activity notes. Simple. Categorize. Now under that, let's say we want to have a many-to-one relate it to a project. In addition to that, we want to know who's the foreman. That is going to be responsible for this. And foreman is going to be not an employee, but I'd rather relate the foreman to a user. And on top of that, maybe we want to know the date that it was complete. And I can edit the value here and just say foreman. I can edit this here and say date submitted. And the system will quickly update those. And let's say over here, I want to add a space for them to log notes of the daily activity. And I can say on daily activity notes. Under that, let's say I want to add 2 more columns. And I can say crew on site, and I can have here images. Now, I want to insert some images here. I can do image, insert, click on the value of that here, and say before, and I can go lower and insert another image and say after. And in addition to that, crew on site, I will add tags for users. And here, under that, maybe there's equipment I also want to capture, which I can tag equipment as well. So I can tag and I can see equipment and save it. And now, with the click of a button, close it, I've pretty much just created a new interface, which allows me to capture all sorts of information. Forgot one little thing. This is always very cool to me too. So name, we can actually define the placeholder text. We can say title of daily activity report. And you can give you a little placeholder value. So for here, what I want to do now is the name is going to be mandatory. You don't have to have a name if you don't want to. So we can just remove that. Is there a way easy to access performance impacts when hold on one second. I'm going to finish this and then I'll answer your question. So with this here, the next step would be we can save that, we can delete it, no problem. But what we want to do is when we look at this, we have no value here yet. So if I open this one, maybe I can just relate it to a project quickly. I can say who's the foreman. I select a date submitted. Notes here, we are busy working. Who are the users, Nick Kaczynski, and then equipment. Maybe there's a Bobcat 101. Save it. You can add multiple users here as well. Then, of course, before and after photos. Then I can save this. Now, in addition to that, what I can do is open the chatter widget down here, which will allow me to add followers to this daily activity report. So I can tag Nick Kaczynski and say, that, and I can start to have conversations around this daily activity report. So next step here is going to be to see this through the lens of a project. Now, if I go to a project, if I go to more, I can just go to list view, open this project. It's very easy to just relate. Now we can have DARs, daily activity reports, and we can see the building blocks, and we can see when we search more that daily report down here. And the field name on it is project, that's the connection, the dependency. And I select it and confirm. And before I know it, I can have visibility into all my DARs. By clicking that, it opens it up. Of course, there's no name on here. But one way we can quickly fix that is we don't have name, but we want to go to the existing fields, all the fields that we already created. And we want to know the project it's associated to. We want to know the date that this was submitted on. We want to know the foreman working on this. And after that, maybe we want to know, another thing I want to definitely know is the feat complete, which I'll jump into shortly. So I can go in here, studio, daily activity notes, and before that I'll add just a decimal down here. And I can name this total square feet. Square feet. And from here, I can give it a value of, let's just say, 1,000 square feet today. Now, and I can also throw that in here as well to see square feet complete, total square feet complete, drag and drop. So that gives me that now. And of course, through the lens of the project, I can see it all right here. So to give you an example, I actually did this on another system, which is here. And if I go into projects, I created a lot of interesting things here for this demonstration, such as like a hazards page. They wanted to track hazards, and I can open it up and quickly see what the pictures look like embedded, track these hazards, track conversations down here. I can also go in and look at the activity analysis, which is essentially what I just showed you. And you're easily able to group by, these are the daily activity reports, group by project. You can see all the daily activity reports for Friday Electric. Of course, through the lens of the actual project itself, open up Friday Electric, you can see You can relate expenses. How do you add, let me just take a second here. So questions would be, is there an easy way to assess performance impacts designing a model? Too many large graphic performance impacts. I'll have to get back to you on that, Pat. How do you add hazards in the menu bar? Yep, adding hazards in the menu bar is just the difference of creating, well, it's actually really simple. We can add the daily activity reports in this menu bar. What we can do is go here, because daily activity reports is nothing more than a model. It's quite simple. So you can just do a new menu, you can name it DAR, and we can just have our daily reports accessible right from here. And you can quickly, place it somewhere else. Maybe we want to place it under projects or under search or wherever. We can give it its own menu. Down, yeah, maybe at the bottom. Confirm. And then we see it up here, DAR, and I can click it and access my DARs. And there I am. It's cool, I know. It's awesome. So there is, what else now? Square feet complete. Oh, I wanted to show you this here. So when you're looking at the activity analysis, you can break it out by, you can go into views quickly and look at things through a pivot table. And then right here, I can look at all my DARs by pivot table, break it out by project, and then I can break it out by created on and look at the month, or I can break it out date of completion by week, and then I can look at measures and I can see like square feet complete. And I can start to see, or better yet, let's just break it out by month for simplicity's sake, square feet complete in the month of April and the number of DARs submitted per, and we can even do down here the name of the DAR, but I deleted those as well. But you can start to see all the DARs, the quantities, and the actual square feet complete. And if I select this, it'll show me all the DARs that add up to the project to the 1,445. Another cool thing which a lot of people ask about is relating expenses to projects. It's as simple as it sounds. It's create. Here you have an expense. You want to give a test. You want to give it a product name. You would save this, or you can actually relate it financially. You relate it here. But from the interface standpoint, you would, when I submit to manager, this is the actual document you would want to link, which is the HR expense sheet, which can be seen here. The HR expense, or this one will actually work as well. So it's as simple as doing what I just showed you guys. Drag and drop, project, save. And you can see now many expenses to a single project. If I go into projects, settings, up here, add expense, and then I search more. At the bottom of the list will be expenses and confirm, and you'll see as quick as that all expenses. And you can see I like this one here. I think it's FOD-credit card. There. So yeah, and then as all the expenses you relate, and again, you can create expenses right through the project. And you can save it or test, etc. The last thing I want to talk about here is starting to get a little bit more technical, but it has to do with the automation of information from one model to another. And the way we do that is, let's look here, for instance. Let's say we have let's take the value of the foreman, and let's relate it to a user, right? So for here, we go this. We want to drag and drop the foreman, right? And a foreman is nothing more than a user. Select. Now, here, you got to look at the name of this field by going to more, and you can see the technical information related to this field. So you would want to select the field because we're going to want to reference this field. So for every daily activity report that we create, let's say I want to know who the foreman is without having to make my employees fill that in every time. And this is the sure way to avoid manual data entry. So for this, what you do is you go to now that you know the field you want to reference, you go to the field you want to have it automatically insert whatever that password was. You want that value to translate into here. What you do is you select the field that you want it to capture, you want it to populate on. You go into more, and what you do is let me back up. You have to understand that field, that foreman field, the first one on the project, that's the one we want to reference. So now that's in a different model. Now we've gone to a new model. You'll see it here, model daily activity report. To pull information from a field on a different model, you have to understand where is the bridge occurring. And the bridge, you're pulling it from the project model, which is this field here. That's the field you're going to pull this from. So what we have to do is we have to actually look at the information on that field as well. So in order to do that, we would want to, let me just put it here. You look at, that's the field of the foreman on project.project, and we can save that. Now we want to actually go and get that information as well, this project field, because this is the related field. And we go here, studio, close. Now, in order to do this, I need to COGLQ. Then I go here, more. Then you see related fields down here. You paste the first field, which is the project field, and then you type in the COGLQ. I believe that's it. And I'll save it, and you add those fields. Now, because what you did, this is the project field. This is the foreman field on the project. This is the foreman field on the project model we're pulling from. And what happens is, when I'm on this project, when I go to a DAR and I click create, it automatically, it did not automatically populate. Let me just make sure why. Create. There. Nope. Well, I'll have to figure out what I did wrong there. But what can happen is it can automatically populate a value for you when you pull it. Oh, I know why. Because I didn't define the actual format. User, and then I can go DAR, create, and it'll automatically populate the foreman, and it won't allow me to edit it if I don't want it to. Of course, I can go in, select, and not make it read-only anymore, which will allow me to adjust that field as well. But so in order to avoid your employees having to do manual data entry, they can jump in from the project interface, create it, and it'll pull that automatically. Would it identify the source reference? Would it need to identify the source reference model? So the source, by source reference model, you mean the model that it's pulling the information from, which is the project model, which is the source of it comes through this relationship here, which is on the product, which is on this model. So in order to relate one model to another, there needs to be a field on the, so model A and model B. If we want to relate a field on model A to a field on model B, then we have to understand where is the bridge right now between model A and B. And in this instance, the bridge between model A, which is project, and model B, which is activity report, is the field project. So DB join in DB. Okay, yeah, I'm not like very technical, but there's yeah, I'd have to look it up, but I hope I explained it well enough for you to understand. And if you want to dig deeper into it, more than happy to we have plenty of resources here at Odoo who will be able to talk to you guys, for a very long time about all the way that this is constructed and how everything works. Just, like I said, nko@odoo.com, and I'll be happy to dive into the details with you. So that puts us almost at an hour here. I think what else I could go over with you. So we went into creating some automations there. I showed you the before and after photos, some custom reporting, showed you how to create a new app up here. daily activity reports, which we're tracking in, showed you how it's dynamic pretty much right off the bat. You can quickly filter out by foreman as well. See, without having to do any real code, we're able to quickly capture all that information. And of course, with a little bit more work, we're able to start to automate a lot of the fields that get populated based on who the users are and different values that are assigned to, models that are in relation to, or as a new word I learned today, that are joined. So at this point, I'd like to open up the floor to you guys. I hope I did an okay job, but I'll open up the floor to you guys with questions and anything else that may be of interest to you. Viewer, our team designers can use it for for the design purpose. Viewer 25, I would need for you to elaborate a little bit more. I'm not sure what the question is exactly there. Yep, to do that, that's a little bit, but you would go here and select the, actually no, you go to the home screen here and then export, and that'll actually pull out all the customizations. But if viewer 16, if you want to connect with me offline, I'll be more than happy to bring a resource on the call who will be able to help you achieve whatever it is you want to achieve, okay? Say customers have a preferred language. Can we automatically generate a quote or SO in the customer's language? So automatically generating a quote or SO in the customer's language would be, let me think about that for a second. Hold on, let me test something. Okay. Contacts. Gates. Nothing purchasing. I have to go to Microsoft. I will have to get back to you. I don't know if that's something that's out of the box, but that would be, it's something that can be done. It's just, I have to look into exactly what's going to be the best way for us to do it. So Jay, please write me on the side and I'll be more than happy. I'll take care of you this afternoon. Say customers have a preferred language, automatically generate a quote. Right? So how can graphic designers use this app? Okay, viewer 25, graphic design, what do you mean by how can graphic designers use this app? So it's a platform that's composed of many different applications. Each application is designed to have a certain purpose. So that purpose is geared to solve a particular problem. So it ultimately comes down to the problems that your graphic designers have. Then I'd be able to prescribe you a different application or combination of applications which we can use to solve that problem. So it'd probably be better for us to talk offline. So if you want to write me an email or give me a call, like I said, I'm around this afternoon. I always block my schedule off after webinars to explicitly answer questions and concerns that viewers have on a one-on-one basis. Are there many Android apps? Are there many Android apps based on access to? So there's two different applications that I know off the top of my head. Pat, which I know they're Odoo apps, so that you can access all this. I can send them over to you in email once we get off the webinar, but they are on the Google App Store. So you can probably just go in and Google, just type in Odoo apps and you'll be able to see a list. But I'll send you over the 2 definitive ones that we tend to suggest our clients work with. Anything else, anyone? I don't know. I hope I did a good job for you guys. I hope that you found this to be informative. You know, if there's anything that was unclear or that I brushed past too quickly, please do reach out to me, and I'll be happy to jump on a call with you one-on-one, pour a cup of coffee, and dive into the details of whatever it is that is of interest to you. Okay, everyone. Again, I'm going to share my email with you once more. And here is my email, nko@odoo.com. You know, write me if there's something that in particular that you want a solution of some sort, or you can't solve a problem, you can't find a software that'll help you solve it. Send it to me. I'm sure I'll be able to find a way to solve it. Okay. Thanks so much, everyone. Again, nko@odoo.com. Shoot me over an email, and I'll take care of you. Thanks so much for your time this afternoon.